I'm the Slasher Movie Reviewer, and this is my review of Paul. Is directed by Greg Montalvo. He did Superbad and Adventureland, and this is his latest film. Now, I was kind of excited to see Paul simply because you have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, who were personally in my favorite comedy or horror comedy of all time, Shaun of the Dead. Love Shaun of the Dead, so I was simply excited to just see those two teaming up, being buddies again, because when they're in a movie together, they're always great. They're always great. So I was a little excited to see Paul. Paul is about those two geeks, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. You know, they're going around looking at Area 51, and they hit up Comic-Con and all that stuff, which I'm jealous about. Never been there, want to go. They hit up all those places, and then on their way they meet an actual alien whose name is Paul, and they friend the alien and they try to help him get back home because, yeah, they're awesome. Now, Paul is a funny movie, and it's a great movie. Now, it's not Greg Montalvo's best film, but it's still a funny film to watch. I mean, I was laughing a lot through this film. It never drags. It never gets boring. It never got boring for me. It was a great movie to watch, but it just wasn't up to, I guess, a Greg Montalvo standard, if I'm saying his last name right. It wasn't up to his standards, so, you know, but it was still a funny movie, and I had a great time watching it. I mean, there's also some great cameos. Then there's one that is ruined at the end of the film. Hate you, advertisements. That would have, but there's also some really other great ones. Then you've got Jason Bateman in here. I mean, you've got just a great cast in this film. Paul is a great movie to watch if you want some good laughs. And I mean, it's not trying to be the funniest movie ever made. It's trying to be a good comedy. Unfortunately, though, not everything works in Paul. There are a couple of lines in Paul that I think, was that supposed to be funny? Because I didn't laugh. You know, there was a couple of moments like that in this film. Maybe they were meant for a certain targeted audience, or maybe they just didn't work. They just didn't work, in my opinion. But what really makes Paul worth going out to see is simply because of the chemistry between our two geeks, and their reactions to Paul and how they react to the situation that's going on. That is what's so good about this film, and they're able to liven up the humor and stuff like that. And Paul, who is played by Seth Rogen, I can't believe I waited this long to tell, but who Seth Rogen is voiced, he is hilarious in this film. I mean, I don't think they could have picked a better guy to play an alien. He was so hilarious and so spot on. Except a few times he might crack a joke, and I was just like, was I supposed to laugh at that? But besides that, you know, there are some great moments, like, I think you've probably seen the trailer where the car flips off the road and it burns, and he's like, oh yeah, I think he'll be fine. Paul is a great comedy. It's not a film that's rushing just to try to exceed every comedy out there. I felt very kosher, very calm watching the whole thing, and I had a great time. I laughed a lot. Everybody else in the theater laughed. You know, definitely grab your buds, your girlfriend, you know, go see this film because you're going to have a great time. You're going to laugh a lot. You know, that's what a comedy's for. You know what? And I think the best thing about it is the fact that it doesn't try to outdo the comedies of last week or 2 years ago, say, like, or The Hangover. You know, it's not trying to outdo those films. It's just trying to be a good time at the cinema, and that's what it is. Despite a couple of not so funny parts, Paul is a great comedy, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I'm the Slasher Movie Reviewer, and you've just been slashed.